Welcome back to the show. Many thanks for staying with us. After years of uncertainty, mistrust, foot dragging, and pessimism, the Asante-led group of eminent chiefs has opened the way for the organization of final funeral rite for two late chiefs in the Dagbon traditional council, whose demise years ago continues to fuel conflict amongst brothers from the same father. After 12 years of deliberations, the two gates agreed to hold separate funerals for the two chiefs, Yana Mahmudu Abdullahi and Yana Yakubu-Andani, between 14 December 2018 and 18th January 2019. Then after, the enskinment of a new Yana to oversee Dagbon will be enskinned. But how did we get here? Here is Otunfo Oseichu speaking at a ceremony to present the roadmap to President Akufo-Addo. But before that, in the studio here with me is my colleague Elton Bobe, who was at the Flagstaff House earlier. Elton, first of all, give us a brief background of how far we have come with this situation. All right,
so the background to this is that I'm sure you're aware that in 2002, when the MPP was in power under the leadership of former President John Akufo-Addo, there was this conflict in Yendi between March 25th and March 27th, which resulted in the death of the Yana and several other people. Now, government reaction to the conflict was to set up a presidential commission of inquiry, the Waku Commission. So they sat in the Brown Half Regional Capital of Sunyani for close to a year, and then they presented their report, plus their recommendations. The summary of their recommendation was that they identified two individuals for their roles in the murder of the Yana, but their overall conclusion was that it was a war. The Yana died in a war between two feuding factions, the Abudus and the Andanis. That was the conclusion of the Waku Commission. But they identified two individuals for their roles in the murder of the Yana. One, Idana Sugri and Jamfo. These people, according to the report, were seen on the streets of Yendi with the severed head of the Yana and other body parts. So for that reason, they identified them as some of the prime suspects in the murder of the Yana. Unfortunately, when the matter was taken to court, for lack of evidence, these individuals were discharged from court. 15 other people were further arrested, also taken to court. Also for want of better evidence, they were also discharged. President Akufo, after the courtroom drama, decided to appoint the Asante and two other chiefs to look at how they will resolve this particular matter, chart a roadmap forward to resolve this particular matter. So it's been 12 years, and today they came to the Jubilee House to present their report after engaging the two families, the Abudus and the Andanis, on best way to deal with this particular matter. The key issues that they deliberated on was whether to accord the late Yana Mahmudu Yakubu, who according to a Supreme Court ruling, his enskinment was declared null and void by the court. So for some gates in the Dagbon traditional area, I didn't see the reason why he should be accorded the title of a late Yana. So his funeral organization was in contention. Eventually, everything came to light. The recommendation, according to Otunfo's committee, has cleared the way for these funerals to be organized.
Okay, so speaking of the presentation, which will be playing the soundbite from the Otunfo himself, but Elton, give us highlights of the report he presented to the president today.
So he started by going into the history of the Dagbon traditional area, and then the circumstances under which they came in to resolve this particular matter, what they considered, and what they've come up with.
Okay.
At some point, they appointed a regent to control the Dagbon traditional area.
A regent?
A regent.
A regent, okay.
But unfortunately, the regent could not participate in today's events. The Otunfo actually asked the Northern Regional Minister the whereabouts of the regent. The response we got was that the regent, according to the regional minister, told him that he was sick. For that reason, he was unable to participate in today's events. But Otunfo has some harsh words for the regent, because according to him, some people's personal interests is responsible for the current state of Dagbon now. So two things came up. First is the organization of the funeral, first for the late Yana Mahmudu Yakubu. And this is going to take place between the 14th and the 28th of December 2018. There's going to be a 1-week interval. And then the Andanis can also hold a funeral rites for the late Yana Yakubu-Andani II, who died in 2002.
Okay.
After that funeral celebration, we are hoping that that will also end by the 18th of January 2019.
Okay.
Then they've also appointed 4 eminent chiefs within the Dagbon traditional area. They will go into conclave and then decide who the next Yana should be. That is basically it. So they were given the role to look at the organization of the funeral and who becomes the Yana. And according to them, they've executed their mandates, but their mandate is not finished until there's a new Yana in place to control the Dagbon traditional area.
Okay, and within this period, within the 1 week period that they'll be waiting for the next gate, for the next gate to also, organize their funeral. Are there any security arrangements, special security arrangements mentioned in this report?
Well, the area is still volatile, so I want to believe that national security is taking steps to ensure that there is, peace and order in the traditional area during the period which has been identified for the organization of the funeral for first Muhammadu Yakubu and then later Yana Yakubu-Addo the second. That I'm sure has been taken up, because at this particular meeting, all the security heads were there, including the Northern Regional Security Council. So I'm sure that these matters will be done. The concern for some, especially on the Adani side, is whether or not the current regent will sit in state to observe these funerals. From the narration that we got from Otumfuo, it doesn't look like that will happen. The Abudus will have theirs, the Adanis will have theirs. 4 eminent chiefs will go into seclusion. They will do their own oracles and come up with a name to be considered by the kinsmen as the next Yana for the Dagbon traditional area.
What was the precedence? And pretty soon, pretty shortly, we'll be playing for you what Otumfuo's report, as he presented it, sounds like. But Elton, give us the highlights of President Akufo-Addo's response to these.
Well, for him, he doesn't belong to the traditional area. He's not a Dagomba, so he has no interest at all as to who becomes the next Yana. But as government, he's very much interested in the peace and security of the nation. So as government, will provide all the financial support, the logistics to ensure that the organization of the funerals first, and then the escapement of the new Yana goes on smoothly.
Okay. Well, let's hear from the president, and then when we come back, we'll take it from there.
The conflict in Dagbon has dragged on for so long that many Ghanaians, including some sons and daughters of Dagbon, have become skeptical about the ability to resolve the matter and secure enduring peace in Dagbon. I was never one of the skeptics. I have an unshakable faith in the capacity of the Ghanaian people to resolve their own problems, and that faith has paid off. The roadmap presented by the chairperson of the Committee of Eminent Chiefs, Nana Santehene Otumfuo II, is an important milestone in the decades-old search for a permanent solution to the Dagbon problem. The people of Dagbon are to be warmly congratulated for this achievement. To the 3 eminent chiefs, Asantehene Otumfuo II, Nairi, Na Bohugu Abdullahi Mahami Sheriga, and Yabonwura Tutumba Boresa Sulemana Jakpa, who have worked for so long to achieve this. I salute you for your tenacity and resilience. I commend you for not giving up on the Dagbon people, even when at times the situation seemed hopeless. I applaud you for your high sense of statesmanship and patriotism in helping to find a satisfactory outcome to this seemingly intractable conflict. It is also appropriate that we, on this occasion, acknowledge with gratitude the roles played by the late kings of Mamprugu and Gunja, Na Gamni Muhammadu Abdullahi, and Yabongura Bawa Abudu Doshi, respectively, who began the process with Otumfuo II, but who were not fortunate to see this day. May their souls rest and abide in the bosom of the Almighty until the last day of the resurrection, when we shall all meet again. Eminent chiefs, ladies and gentlemen, in the year 2002, on 27th March, when the late king of Dagbon, Na Yakubu-Addo, a good friend of mine, was killed, I happened to be the Attorney General in the government of President Kufuor. That terrible event shook the entire country with grief, horror, and deep regret. May his soul rest in perfect peace and receive the blessings of the Almighty. The establishment of the Waku Commission, the prosecution of suspects, their acquittal by the courts, and the continuing agony we've had to endure for 16 years represent a painful period for all of us. Unfortunately, the crisis has persisted. Upon becoming President of the Republic on 7th January 2017, I was determined to help bring finality to the matter, and in the process, witness the enskinment of a substantive Yana for the people of Dagbon. I did indicate in October 2017 that I wanted to celebrate the Damba Festival with the people of Dagbon, with a new Yana sitting in state before the end of 2017. Alas, that was not to be. Nonetheless, I'm fully expectant that soon I shall be celebrating Damba with the people of Dagbon in the presence of a substantive Yana. Dagbon is one of the most ancient traditional states of our history. It is generally recorded by historians to have been founded in the 14th century. The Asante Kingdom was established in the latter part of the 17th century with the ascension of the great Opimsuo Usoititu onto the Golden Stool, when Na Zagina, the 18th king of Dagbon, was reigning. The people of Dagbon ought justifiably to be proud of this heritage and guard it jealously. An important contribution to this is to consolidate the culture of enskinning Yanas without hitch, confusion, or bloodshed. I'm a descendant of a royal household. I know tradition and I value tradition. The Akan say, "Unima mamrea, unse amamre." To wit, if you know and value custom, you don't destroy it. My forebears and the forebears of the political tradition to which I belong were several decades ago before independence, clear in their conviction that the chieftain institution was and should be a pivotal part of our development agenda. I was given the mandate as president to fix a broken country, both its economy and its society. I'm determined in my efforts to do just that. That notwithstanding, the Dagbon people must themselves also be willing to give peace a chance. And it is attainable, in my view, if there is a will and a readiness to compromise. Not many Ghanaians know that Abudu and Andani are not clans. They are names of brothers of the same father and are now used as terms to define the two main gates that ascend to the Dagbon scale. For an ethnic group with no clan cleavages, I believe that they have the best opportunity to mend fences, restore the dignity of their kingdom, and ensure the forward march of Dagbon. In so doing, they must learn to accommodate one another. I would appeal from the bottom of my heart to the Kampakuyana and the Bolinlana, the sons and regents of Na Yakubu-Andani and Na Muhammadu Abdullahi, respectively, young men with bright, promising futures before them, to rise above the passions that have fueled the disputes that have marred Dagbon, and as an expression of their love for their people, help in the effective implementation of this roadmap to bring lasting peace to Dagbon and lay the basis for its rapid development. The overwhelming majority of the people of Dagbon, especially the youth, are tired of this age-old conflict and just want the opportunity to enhance their lives in normalcy and security. Government will give the requisite financial, material, moral, physical, and security forces necessary for the sustenance of the peace process that has been embarked on today.
That is President Akufo-Addo earlier responding to the report that was presented to him by Otumfuo Osei-Tutu. Well, before that, we hadn't heard from Otumfuo Osei-Tutu on his presentation. We can hear him now.
For the past 16 years, the predicament that happened in Dagbon, leading to the death of Yana, brought untold security hardship and everything to Ghana. And so we were charged by President Kufuor then to find a customary and traditional way of bringing Dagbon to normalcy. At that time, there was also the issue about the death of Yana, whether it was a criminal aspect, whether the circumstances that he died was also there. But then a line was drawn between the criminal aspect and the traditional aspect. Our duty was to find the traditional and customary way of bringing Dagbon to normalcy. And that's what we started doing in 2002, March. To 2006, we drew a roadmap where we decided that the regent of Dagbon should be he was the son of the incumbent Yana who died, should take precedence over the regent of Nama Hamadu, even though he died earlier. And then in the roadmap, we said that taking cognizance of the decision of the Supreme Court to the effect that the late Yana Hamadu should be regarded as a former Yana, and that his sons be regarded as sons of Yana, and that they do qualify to contest the gate schemes of Mion, Karaga, and Saviligu, which decision the eminent kings and all the parties accept. The Supreme Court decided further that only occupants of the schemes of Mion, Karaga, and Saviligu can aspire to and occupy the namship. The report of the Reconciliation Committee established to give effect to the Supreme Court judgment, and the agreements and undertakings agreed to by all the parties who were signatories to the agreement. The fact that Nama Hamadu died when he was no longer in office as Yana, the unfortunate incidents of March 2002 leading to the death of Na Yakubu Andani and some of his followers, and the need to accord him burial in accordance with Dagbon custom and tradition, the need for equity, justice, and fairness in finding a solution to the Dagbon conflict, whereof the Eminent Kings Committee, with a full and active participation and concurrence of both families, hereby decides as follows: that the installation of the regent of Yana Yakubu Andani takes precedence over the installation of Na Muhammadu Abdullah's regent, since Na Yakubu died in office, and Dagbon custom did not contemplate a situation where there would be two sitting Yanas or regents at the same time. A council of the elders comprising 3 representatives each from the Andani and Abudu families shall be constituted immediately to act in concert with the Kugana and the regent of Na Yakubu Andani to handle all traditional arrangements from the date of burial of Na Yakubu Andani, performance of funeral rites of both late Yanas, to the installation of a new Yana. The council of the elders shall comprise the following, so we had the list at that time. Then the burial of Na Yakubu should take place on 10th of April with the consultation and active participation of the Council of Elders and his regent to work out a program for the funeral rites of Na Muhammadu. So then in witness thereof, they signed. So that was the stage that we came to in 2006. And about 12 years now, we've met severally. My brothers have come. The old men have been shuttling in between Kumasi and Nalerigu and Gonja, coming down with my sons here, both on the left and right, trying to find a solution to the way for the roadmap then. The issue of contention was the funeral of Na Muhammadu. First, it was, even though the Supreme Court has said that he must be recognized as a former Yana, the issue was about whether his funeral can be performed in the palace. The Abudus contended that yes, because the Supreme Court said that he must be recognized, he deserves the full recognition of a Yana. The Andanis then started by saying that no, because he died as a former Yana, even though the Supreme Court says that we should recognize him, his funeral must be performed at where he died. Now then, the contention then from the Abudus was that once he has been buried at the Katende, that is where they have to perform the rites, and so they cannot be stopped from doing that. It was to and fro, and then the arguments for and against, till such time that we came to a conclusion that yes, being that the Supreme Court said, even though there has been an Olenu commission that said that his enslavement and all that was null and void, the Supreme Court, being the highest court of the land, said that notwithstanding that, notwithstanding how he ceased to be Yana, he must be recognized as a former Yana, so that his children also would be recognized as such. So with that, we came to the conclusion that Na Muhammadu's funeral must be performed as a Yana, and therefore the customary rites must all be in accordance with a former Yana. Sure. And that is where we came. And then after that, the funeral of Na Yakubu-Andani would also be performed and accorded all the dignity and respect. Then we came to who has to perform the funeral. Sure. The contention was that even some of them went to court, where the Abudus had sent it to court to contest that the Kampukuyana was obstructing and he has to initiate. But then by their custom, it's the elders of the Abudu and the Andani who have to initiate the funeral. So in our conclusion, we said to them that the elders of the Abudu must then, through the customary right, they have to inform the Kugana about the performance, go through that, and then start with the funeral of Na Muhammadu. So when that finishes, then the Andanis also would also, the elders would also inform the Kugana and then also perform the funeral of Na Yakubu Andani. Sure. But before we get to the details, Your Excellency, I just want to apprise you with what exactly the situation in Dagbon and what has given cause to this problem. In as far back as 1959, LI 59 was established by President Nkrumah at that time, because there was still this confusion about two Yanas having succeeded twice, the Abudus, and therefore LI 59 was that when it finishes, the Andanis also should succeed twice. Unfortunately, then there was a coup, Kwame Nkrumah was ousted, and then Abdullahi Muhammadu again was installed as Yana in 1968-69, and that brought another confusion there, where there was a petition to Dr. Buzia, and then it went to Nene Azuma Tekole Commission, and then it ruled that the enslavement was done by the elders of Dagbon, and therefore it should be sustained. So then he carried on to be the Yana then. Then there was a coup, then Kutue Champon comes, there's another petition, and he sets up the Olenu Commission. The Olenu Commission then goes through to say that the enslavement of Na Muhammadu Abdullahi was null and void because it didn't go through the processes that is customary. Then there was a petition to President Rawlings' time, and it went to the Supreme Court. Then the Supreme Court then affirmed that no, notwithstanding that, notwithstanding the findings of Olenu Commission, being that the enslavement is not known in the Dagbon custom, and notwithstanding how he ceased to be Yana, he must be recognized as a former Yana. And that is how come that Na Muhammadu Abdullahi still then is accepted now as a former Yana.
So that's a chronology of events there presented by Otumfuo Setu, who led the group of eminent chiefs to put together a roadmap towards peace. Elton is still here with me. Elton, we're learning that the Andani family presented a petition to the presidency today. Give us highlights of that petition.
Right, so this is dated on 19th of November 2018, and it's a 4-page document. Let me just highlight some of the points that they provided here. According to them, the Andani family is ready to perform the funeral of their late father as soon as the conditions are ripe, but not under these dictated by the Committee of Eminent Chiefs. They are claiming that after hearing the briefing by a representative on Monday at the Gbewa Palace in Yendi in the presence of His Royal Highness the Kubana, the participating leading members of the Andani royal family fully endorsed the objections of the representative made to His Majesty Otumfuo on the following grounds. The insistence of the Otumfuo Committee to perform the funeral of Na Muhammad Abdullah at the Gbewa Palace is unprecedented and offensive to Dagbon custom and law. According to them, under Dagbon custom...
So what they're saying here is that they do not want the funeral...
performed at the Gbewa Palace.
At the Gbewa Palace, yes, where the Yana died.
Yeah, where the Yana died. The Gbewa Palace is supposed to be the official palace for the Yana.
Okay.
But when he died, and there was confusion about where and when, government went in to construct a temporary palace for the regent of Dagbon.
So is this the palace we're talking about?
Exactly.
Okay.
The
so they
palace.
do not want the funeral rites to be performed here?
Yes,
okay.
because the burial palace is supposed to be a place reserved for the performance of funeral for Yanas who passed on. This person we are talking about, according to the Andani family, there's a Supreme Court ruling which declared his escapement as null and void.
Okay.
So he cannot be recognized as a former Yana.
But does that come back to the point that Otunfo was making
subsequently there's been other rulings which affirmed earlier position that
he is indeed
should be recognized as a former Yana.
Okay.
Their fear is that if the funeral is performed at the burial palace, the next stage will be for the selection of a new Yana, which may come from the Abudu family. But per what we're told today, after the performance of the funeral for the late Muhammadu Yakubu, between December 14th and the 28th, the next funeral performance will be for Yana Yakubu and Danny II. And then after, the selection of a new Yana will emerge.
Okay, let's wrap up with the rest of the highlights.
So in summary, they are saying that they've heard calls of some of their sons and daughters to engage in radical action to protect against the decision of the eminent chief, but call for calm to prevail, as well as take this in a democratic fashion, is what they are all praying for.
Certainly, because we're all working towards peace. Elton, thank you very much for those updates. Elton Brobe is Presidential Affairs Correspondent. He was at the presidency today where Otunfo came to present that report, and where President Akufo-Addo also made his response, after which we understand that a petition had been sent 19th of November, which is about 2 days ago. And you had the highlight of that. We're still following that story. It is still developing from here. We'll take it up as and when we have any more information.